at the forefront of politics.
Our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. We got to unite. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
On the front lines of activism.
There's certain fights, if we don't engage, they win. This is a fundamental question of who we are.
And delivering your daily dose of comedy.
Donald Trump, when he had his physical, they had his blood pressure, and mine is higher than his. Oh. And the irony is mine is higher because of him.
From the blue wave.
We flipped enough seats to take control of the House. We control the House.
To 2020 and beyond. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters. It is Tuesday, July 30th. I am Dean Obeidallah, hoping to be your MBFF. Tonight, of course, debate number 2, part 1. And tomorrow, debate number 2, part 2. Of course, we will cover it tomorrow in great detail. I look forward to hearing your reactions to what we see. The media is hyping it up. Bernie's going to fight with Liz Warren. That's going to be unbelievable. They're going to wrestle and punch each other. Who knows what craziness. I'm going to predict they're not going to fight at all. 0. I think Bernie's going to pick on Senator Harris's health care plan that came out yesterday on Monday, which is a much more, I would say, moderate type of plan, not as progressive as some would like, and maybe takes shots at others. But I don't think they're going to fight at all. So we'll see what happens. So first, we need some comedy. Yeah, last night, Colbert had some really good jokes. This first quick joke, Donald Trump at the 9/11 first responders signing of a bill that Democrats champion. This is all Democrats. You know, and some Republicans in New York were involved, but it's not a Trump bill. He didn't do anything about it. And Mitch McConnell had to be shamed into supporting it. But here he is. Listen to Donald Trump. He can't even say the words 9/11 anymore. Here's clip number 1.
Trump had a hard time making the word sounds.
In a few moments, I will sign a bipartisan bill to fully reauthorize the 9/11 victims' compensation funds.
It's like they always say about that terrible day, never forget. Never forget, John.
That's what they say.
Never forget.
Never forget. That's it. I think it's a bumper sticker like that. And then, only as Donald Trump would do, he inserted himself into 9/11. Somehow, who knows why, they're all 9/11 first responders. Many of them are fighting for their life with medical conditions. And Donald Trump's got to talk about him. Like him and what he did on 9/11, around 9/11, which we don't even know it's true, but it doesn't matter. Why would you bring this up? This is their day. But not Donald Trump, because it's always got to be about Trump. Here's clip number 2.
Trump told the first responders he didn't only stand with them now, he also stood with them then.
Many of those affected were firefighters, police officers, and other first responders. And I was down there also. But I'm not considering myself a first responder, but I was down there.
Trump can't help but insert himself into everything. I just watched Endgame. Great movie. The Iron Man and the Fat Thor, and I was there too. I don't consider myself an Avenger because I was rooting for Thanos. Had some good ideas. He had some good ideas.
And that's exactly what Trump would root for, the sinister bad person in it all. So, but Donald Trump did say something today. He actually told the truth. I call out his lies all the time, but sometimes Trump says the truth. And here's a quick thing on the White House lawn. This is today. This is really from his lips. Here's the truth.
I know nothing.
Boom! There you go. Thank you, Donald Trump. He knows nothing. And we're going to keep that on the wall. Can we play that again? I just enjoyed it. Come on.
I know nothing.
That's Trump. He knows nothing. He does know a few things. To be fair, he knows racism. He knows bigotry. But today he said on the White House lawn, asked about racism, and Donald Trump did not say he's not a racist. And I'm being honest, you'll hear it. He did not say he's not a racist. He just said, I'm the least racist person you know. So like he is a racist, but he is the least racist. On the spectrum of raciosity, he is the least racist, that person you know. And that's what he means by, if you know him and other Trumpers, then he's the least racist in that world, maybe? No, it's not. He's the bigot in chief, the racist in chief. He listened very carefully here when he talks about he's the least racist person, and then he goes after Reverend Al and talks about African Americans, praising him for all the great things he's done for them. Oh, God. Here's clip 4.
I am the least racist person there is anywhere in the world. When con men, who I've known almost all my business life, because I had to deal with him, unfortunately, in New York, but I got along with him, Al Sharpton. Now, he's a racist. He's a racist. What I've done for African Americans in 2.5 years. No president has been able to do anything like it. The African American community is so thankful. They've called me and they said, finally, somebody is telling the truth. Well, I think if that's the case, I'd be shocked. But if that's the case, they're fighting against their people, because the African American people have been calling the White House. They have never been so happy as what a president has done.
So all the listeners are African American. I understand why you don't have time to call my show as much, because you're calling the White House to thank Donald Trump for being the greatest president for the black people ever. That's what Trump is saying. And apparently Trump knows the race of all the callers, because either they jot them down or they have a phone that's whites only and blacks only phone. That would make the most sense of all with Donald Trump. Knowing him, there is a white phone and a black phone. And then Donald Trump was confronted with reality moments later, asked point blank, and if you can't hear the reporter, I will tell you what the reporter says, because the helicopter noise is there. You can hear Trump. It's more clear. The reporter says to Donald Trump in response to that comment, there was a new Quinnipiac poll that came out yesterday, and this is exactly from the poll. 80% of black voters say they believe Trump is racist. Even more stunning and more inspiring, I should say, 89% of black voters, 89% say they will, quote, definitely not vote for Trump in 2020. So 90% essentially of black Americans are saying, we're not going to vote for this guy no matter what. So Trump is confronted with that. And listen how the monster responds. Here's clip 5.
A new poll, Quinnipiac poll, came out today saying that 80% of blacks think you're racist.
You know why? Because the fake news doesn't report it properly. People like you. Fake news does not report it properly. If the news reported it popularly, the right way.
Probably, but never forget. Look, there is Donald Trump doing what Donald Trump does, which is lie, project. And here's the one thing, though. The Quinnipiac poll that I did mention came out yesterday. It did say 89% of black voters would definitely not vote for Trump. 80% of black voters think Donald Trump is a racist. I'm glad to see that. Of other groups, there's no demographic in America more anti-Trump than African Americans. The next group down, I'm not exaggerating, Muslim Americans. And that's because a third of my community is is African American. So we intersect the two communities. And so we are definitely important. Now, the scary thing in the same Quinnipiac poll, folks, and this shows you the two Americas we live in. Now, that's not the right way of putting it. I'll just give you the numbers and I'll share my view. They asked white Americans. Again, 80% of black voters think Donald Trump is a racist. They asked white people, what do you think? What percentage of white people do you think Donald Trump is a racist? What percentage do you think? Guess? All right, time is up. Only 47% of white people think Donald Trump is a racist. 50% say no. And when they did by party, 91% of Republicans do not think Donald Trump is a racist. That's why the GOP is the party of hate. And it makes sense. If you don't think Trump is a racist, well, let's put it this way. You can't think Trump is a racist if you agree with him, because hence, ergo, consequently, you are a racist yourself. So you agree with everything Trump says if you're white, this 50%, or the 91% of Republicans. You agree with Trump. They've called the show. It's not racist to say, go back to your country and black people live not like human beings and defend white supremacists and all that garbage. No, it's a coincidence that people like David Duke and white supremacists love Donald Trump. Of course, just happenstance. So if you subscribe to that and what Donald Trump is saying about black people and Latino people and Muslims, it's not, if you agree with that, Trump can't be racist, because if he is, you are a racist. So it's not stunning. It's just disappointing. Jamal Smith, who I like a great deal, and we're going to try to get him on the show. I've had him on. I don't know if I've had him since I moved to this channel. He writes Rolling Stone. I've been on cable with him countless times. Tweeted today, and he's African-American. He tweeted today, I am tired of waking up to Donald Trump's bigotry. I am tired of black and brown people having to laugh to keep from crying. And I'm glad there's some laughter left, because it's hard. And let's talk about an issue, though, beyond racism that has a big... And after I go through this issue, if you want to call about the racism, I'm very happy to talk to you about that. But I do want to talk about a policy issue that's in the way of us winning 2020. And this is by design, that Mitch McConnell and the GOP and Donald Trump and Fox News today as well, in a concerted effort, are doing everything they can to mislead people and not secure our elections from Russia interference. As I go through, it's a concerted effort. Fox News today, Donald Trump today, and Mitch McConnell, all pushing back against the idea of the need to secure our elections. And first, here's Mitch McConnell on the floor of the Senate yesterday, like early evening last night, on what is going on in the world and how angry he is with the left. Clip number 6.
Over the last several days, I was called unpatriotic, un-American, and essentially treasonous by a couple of left-wing pundits on the basis of bold-faced lies. This is the state, Mr. President, of left-wing politics in 2019. It's like an inflationary crisis, but with outrage instead of dollars. These people have worn out the volume knobs so badly that they have nothing left but the most unhinged smears. Welcome to modern-day McCarthyism. McCarthy-like tactics out in the open for everyone to see.
So there's Mitch McConnell accusing all of those who are demanding that he secure our 2020 election, accusing us all. And I'm sure there are many, many in the middle and even some on the right who want to secure our election, calling us all McCarthyists. That somehow it's all about McCarthyism. No, Mitch McConnell, it's not. It's about a word called patriotism. It's not McCarthyism, it's patriotism. And we are patriots. The progressives, the moderates, and even those on the right who want to secure our election, we are the patriots. And there's a reason why Mitch McConnell, unpatriotic American, was trending on Twitter today. And Moscow Mitch was trending on Friday. The exact tweet today that was trending with Trump, with the McConnell, was Moscow Mitch, un-American traitor. It's a long hashtag if you're on Twitter, but it was trending all day today. And then here's Mitch McConnell continuing on with the attack on us. Here's clip number 7.
Keeping our republic means we can't let modern-day McCarthyism win. So here's my commitment. No matter how much they lie, no matter how much they bully, I will not be intimidated. For decades, I've used my Senate seat to stand up to Russia and protect the United States of America. I'm proud of my record. I'm proud that it's right there in black and white, and liars cannot gaslight it away.
And there's Mitch McConnell gaslighting us. And you know what? If Mitch McConnell's record is that good standing up to Putin, then you should be doing it now. And the only reason you're not doing it now is because you want Donald Trump to win in 2020. And you know that without the help of Russia, he cannot win. And many Republicans in the Senate, maybe even including him, might not be able to win. So if that record is true, and in fact, it's not lies that our elections are unsecure. I will give you from Republicans right now, because what happened was last week you had Robert Mueller, you had Christopher Wray, the FBI director, and you had a report from the Republican-headed Senate Intel Committee. And we'll go through these in a second right here, warning everyone that our election infrastructure is insecure. So Democrats try to bring a vote in the Senate, and Mitch McConnell stops it twice. But here's exactly what happened last week. You have Christopher Wray, the FBI director now, who's appointed by Donald Trump, testifying before Senate Judiciary Committee. He said the Russians haven't been deterred enough, exact words, and, quote, are absolutely intent on trying to interfere with our elections. Here is lifelong Republican Robert Mueller last week talking to Republican Will Hurd at the Mueller hearings on the very issue of our elections being attacked. And are we secure now? Here's clip number 9, please.
In your investigation, did you think that this was a single attempt by the Russians to get involved in our election, or did you find evidence to suggest they'll try to do this again?
No, it wasn't a single attempt. They're doing it as we sit here. And they expect to do it during the next campaign.
Pretty clear. And the day after, last Thursday, the Senate Intel Committee, headed by Richard Burr, a Republican senator from North Carolina, the Senate is controlled by Republicans, so it is under Republican leadership, puts out a report Thursday, just days ago, saying, quote, Russian activities demand renewed attention to vulnerabilities in U.S. voting infrastructure. The committee concluded urgent steps are needed to replace outdated and vulnerable voting systems. They note that $380 million have already been offered since 2016, but they are saying that's not enough. This is the report from Thursday, Republican report, saying it's not enough. They conclude, despite the expense, cybersecurity needs to become a higher priority for election-related infrastructure. You could not have it more clear. You have Republican Christopher Wray, Republican Robert Mueller, Republican Richard Burr, all saying that our elections are not secure for 2020. This is not a game. This is a bill passed by unanimous consent on Thursday to shore up the infrastructure that would require paper ballots around the nation and give funding for that. It also require anyone contacted by a foreign nation offering help for your campaign, then you are obligated to Senator Tom Cotton, who's really conservative, with Senator Mike Rounds, who's also conservative. They wrote a bipartisan bill together to protect lawmakers and their campaigns from cyber attacks. McConnell says no. And Wyden, in response, said no. So it's not the spin now. It's just Republican, Democrat bills. It's not at all. There's something going on here. I'm not going to go into conspiracy world. Something is askew. And then on Friday, Chuck Schumer tries again to get the Senate to pass a bill called the Securing America's Federal Elections Act. This already passed the House. It would direct $600 million more in election assistance to states and require backup paper ballots. McConnell himself, he didn't send Tina Smith, the Republican senator, like he did earlier in the week to object. He himself objected to this one in saying this is just a highly partisan bill from the same folks who spent 2 years hyping up a conspiracy theory about President Trump and Russia. And in response, Chuck Schumer, who is much more reasonable than I would ever be and more than I want him to be, he responds to this McConnell saying, I would suggest to my friend, the majority leader, if he doesn't like this bill, let's put another bill on the floor and debate it. You can't get more reasonable. And it's more reasonable than I would be, but he is. He's going, okay, you don't like this Democratic bill from the House. Let's work on a bill together. And McConnell still will not allow a vote. He's still, last night, doubling down. Last night, Monday night, nope, there'll be no vote. And he lashed out against us and all those who simply want our elections protected. And as Dana Milbank in a great article in the Washington Post highlighted, is that McConnell has blocked attempts to a bipartisan bill requiring Facebook, Google, and other internet companies to disclose purchases of political ads and to identify foreign influence. McConnell, nope. A bipartisan bill to ease cooperation between state election and federal intelligence agencies. McConnell stopped it. McConnell says no. A bipartisan bill imposing sanctions on any entity that attacks a U.S. election. A bipartisan bill with severe new sanctions on Russia for its cyber crimes. These are all bipartisan, and what they have in common is Mitch McConnell has said no to all of them. So then Mitch McConnell's upset when people are calling him unpatriotic because we have no clue what's going on with Mitch McConnell. He does not want these bills that are bipartisan support enacted to ensure our election security for 2020. That's why today Moscow Mitch un-American traitor trended. And when you add this to the fact that in the closing month of the 2016 campaign, when briefed by the CIA with other congressional leaders that Russia was attacking our elections, he questioned the validity of the CIA briefing and forced them to water down a letter they were all going to send out warning people publicly and state officials about the threat of omitting and made them omit any mention of Russia. So you've got Mitch McConnell with his record from 2016 standing in the way of going public that Russia was attacking us. And this one after the other, folks. And this is one of the few times, as I said, that there shouldn't be partisanship. Everything else we should fight, just about everything else. There's a few things. But being attacked by the Russian military, which we were, ensuring our election infrastructure for 2020 so that the best ideas win by the most Americans voting for the person, with the Electoral College, of course, playing a role. But that's how it should be. And if the Republicans come out there and have great ideas and you win and it's just Americans voting, you've won. We've lost. We got to get better. But to have Russia or China or North Korea or Iran, which is threatening to get involved, and not be completely protected would be unpatriotic. Un-American. There's nothing else. And then here's the worst part. Today, Trump asked about this. He attacked the Washington Post for criticizing Mitch McConnell. And he said, in fact, I think we have that audio. Here's Donald Trump today slamming the Washington Post for their article criticizing McConnell and suggesting it was a Russian asset. And in response, Trump calls the Washington Post a Russian asset. This is off the charts garbage. Here's clip 8.
Mitch McConnell is a man that knows less about Russia and Russian influence than even Donald Trump. And I know nothing. So I think it's a horrible thing when a paper, which is really just a paper for the benefit of Amazon, the Washington Post, is fake news, just like the New York Times is fake news. It's put there for the benefit, the Washington Post, of Amazon. That's my opinion, and I think it's a disgrace. And if they actually said that, I didn't read it. If they actually said that Mitch McConnell is an asset of Russia, They ought to be ashamed of themselves, and they ought to apologize.
So there's Donald Trump defending Mitch McConnell and Mitch McConnell's efforts not to bring this bill to a vote. And let's be very clear. Mitch McConnell's only doing that for Donald Trump. There's no other reason Mitch McConnell would do that except, one, his own political calculation helps him perhaps in Kentucky. I'm not sure, but it helps Trump win. And so they can pack the Supreme Court in the future and the rest of the federal judiciary. But secondly, Trump wants this. And then if you had any doubt, Fox News today, the whole team effort was here. Here is Fox News trying to muddy the water on this issue. Here's first Charles Hurt, a Fox News contributor, clip number 10.
One of the features of this legislation would require anyone working for a campaign to alert any foreign national who's helping that campaign. So my question is, what does that apply to all of the illegal aliens that are helping Democratic
That's a fair
campaigns?
point.
That's a fair point. That's an insane point. There's no undocumented immigrants helping us. They can't vote. They're not part of our structure, but what they're doing is doing the whataboutism. So an otherwise good Americans, good patriotic Americans on the right that we vehemently disagree with, but they're still patriotic Americans, hear that our nation was attacked by Russia. Instead of going, let's unite to shore it up, they go, oh, Democrats got undocumented immigrants helping them, so we need Russia. That's literally what they're doing. They're trying to mislead you to be unpatriotic. And then here's Bill Hemmer on Fox News right afterwards with a more progressive contributor there going, there's vulnerabilities. And he's going, there's no vulnerabilities. What are you talking about? This is unbelievable gaslighting to mislead otherwise good Americans. Here's clip number 11.
It bolsters the claim that we are not ready for the election next year, that we're not protected, that we're woefully vulnerable. And this is what Mueller said. This is what Chris Wray, the director of the FBI, said. And so it is a vulnerability not just for Mitch McConnell, but for his entire
What are we
Republican
vulnerable
majority.
about? No, I mean,
We don't have paper.
Please. Every report says no votes were changed.
No, that's not.
They may have given you that's what the Senate
They
report
attacked
last
voter
week
registration
concluded.
databases, and they have the ability potentially to attack the voting
but
machines.
The point is
We've not gone to paper ballots. We don't have the. But what about next year? They're perfecting their active measures. Why is this not a threat, Charlie?
Hold on. The
Why is it laughable?
No, because the only thing anyone's upset about is that Donald Trump won in 2016.
Do you see what they're doing? You know, I had a report I read from the Republican-chaired Senate Intel Committee report from Thursday saying Russian activities demand renewed attention to vulnerabilities. That is clear. That is a Republican-chaired report and demands urgent steps, including spending money because the expense is worth it to secure our election. And there is Donald Trump, there's Mitch McConnell, and then Fox News, all three together. We're missing one more for the all four horsemen of the apocalypse, trying to destroy our democracy, destroy this republic. By saying there's nothing to worry about. They didn't do anything in 2016. They didn't succeed. Yes, they did succeed. They did succeed. There's no doubt they influenced the election. This time they want to go there and change voting tallies. That's their goal this time, to make sure Trump stays in power. So, you're my guest for at the top of the hour. You want to talk about this? I'm very happy. I'd love to get your view. What's up with Mitch McConnell? I mean, is it as simple as... It can't be as simple as him just becoming unpatriotic. It's not about that. To me, it's just pure political calculation that he thinks he needs to help Trump this way and the Republicans will lose without Russia's help. So he will not shore up our elections. It makes him unpatriotic. Hence, I don't think his instinct is to be unpatriotic. I think it's to be whatever's good for the GOP and the Republican brand. So that's what's helping him there. Donald Trump is unpatriotic. I do not believe he's truly supportive of America and our values. I believe that. And Fox News is along for the ratings. But if you want to talk about the debate tonight, we have time. I'd love to get your reaction on that, what your prediction, what we might see, and also the racism in Donald Trump. If you're African American, did you call the White House and tell Trump he's doing a good job? Because he said all the African Americans called. So if you're African American, did you call Trump and tell me, what did you say to him? Did you tell me he was doing a great job? And by the way, how did he know you were black? Is there a special phone number for whites only and blacks only at the White House? There probably is. 866-997-474. Give me a call. I'll be right back after this. Progressive values are the best of American values, and we need to keep fighting for them to save our country.
Don't go anywhere. This is the Dean Obadala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.